Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? Hope you're having a great start to your day. And as usual, we'll wait a moment or two here as folks come on and say hello. Rosalinda, you're first up. Brahim, number 2 from Portland, Oregon. Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Rosa, Nativity. Mary, good morning. Carrie, Nebraska. Still cold there? Kevin, Oshawa, Madeleine, Nakina, Mary, Wasaga Beach. Ooh, wouldn't be swimming today. And Diane, our dear friend, Michelle, Michael from Norland, Nick, Deb, and Anne, and Etta. Good morning, Alicia, and Wendy, Markham, Lynn, Wendy, another Wendy. How are you? Another Wendy. Ruth Ann, how are you? Linda, Mary Belinda, how are you? Nellie, good morning. Gloria, thank you for saying that, Gloria. She enjoys our program. Diane, Bill, good morning, Bill. Evelyn, Deborah, California, ooh, bright and early. Serpa, how are you, Serpa? And Jocelyn, Sturgeon, Donna, -12 in Park Hill. Deb, how are you? Another Donna, Newfoundland. Ew, she's cold, I bet you. Rita, Luella, Tennessee. Yeah, she's saying it's cold in Tennessee. A deep freeze. Helena, we didn't get the climate change memo. Lise, Marlene, good morning. Barbara, Lisa, good morning. How are you? Anita, Ireland. Anita from Ireland, how are you? Wendy, another Wendy, Nouveau Brunswick. Francis, and Jackie, Belle Isle. Jeanette, good morning. Linda, bonjour. Vanda, how are you, Vanda? Jocelyn, another Jocelyn. And Mila, Toronto. And Sophie from Naples, Florida. Jackie, Peggy. Okay, a couple more. Debbie, Western Australia. Good morning to you. Patricia. Guys, all around the world. Catherine and Julie. And Maria. And Dave. Okay, let's get going. Now, I want to talk to you. It's going to be a little bit political today, but I don't want to be too political. I just want to get to a point. And I realize that, I'm preaching to the choir in a lot of ways, but there's always new people on here. I want to get you thinking about the news behind the news. Okay? I want you thinking about the news behind the news. It's my job, or I believe, to get you to think, see what's happening in the background, okay? So let me make a couple of general statements that are in the news. One of the things that's in the news is there's a huge convoy traveling across Canada, heading to the nation's capital, Ottawa, right? If you haven't heard that, well, if you're Canadian, you certainly heard it. But I think even in the United States, it's sort of making news because it's apparently one of the world's largest convoy. Okay? And we'll get into this in a minute. I just want to, everybody is sort of missing the big picture of things. okay? I talked to you, if you go and podcast 2 years ago, I talked to you about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. So if you want to go back and listen, because I've been very consistent. And here's what I'm saying. I'm reading yesterday a new, it was an article in a medical journal. Here's what it said, and I'm going to tie this together for you. North America, so Canada and the United States, ranks. You put the two countries together, there's no two countries that spend more money on healthcare than Canada and the United States. Okay? United States per capita being number one, and we're number two. No countries spend more money on healthcare than we do. Okay? But are we getting the bang for the buck? And this is what I want to talk about today. In North America, we rank number one in diabetes. Number two in all the world. Number one in all I put Canada and US together. We rank number one in diabetes. Now that's not a good statistic. You don't want to be, who doesn't want to be number one? Except if you're number one in diabetes. We're number two in all the world because the United Kingdom is number one. We're number two in all the world when it comes to Alzheimer's. Again, why do we want that? Well, we don't want that. So if it was a matter of money, the more money we throw at the problem, the worse our outcomes are. And I've said this to you a million times. We're looking for love in all the wrong places. Now we have a virus. Now listen, go back 100 years ago. Go back. Okay? In medical history, what did people die of? Infections. Viruses. Bacteria. Okay? Leprosy. Yeah. Okay? I mean, all you have to do is read your Bible. Leprosy. It was common. Okay? And bubonic plague, syphilis, tuberculosis, which is making a comeback today, by the way. HIV, okay? Influenza, every year. Let me just get you a statistic that, let's see if I can find it quickly here without spending a lot of time looking for it. Here it is. Influenza. Every year, on average, 62,000 Americans die of the flu every year. The flu is a virus. Okay? And it can be dangerous. The flu can be dangerous. Right? Well, we always knew that. But what they're forgetting, okay? So what they're forgetting is the elephant in the room. Because at the end of the day, the only way, just about, okay, with very few exceptions, the only way someone dies today of a virus is if they have metabolic syndrome. Let me repeat that. The only way people today would die of influenza or the virus is if you have an underlying condition. And the underlying condition, the comorbidities, it's common. It's metabolic syndrome. So what we should be doing is we should be screaming blue murder. Because the answer, guys, is right in front of us. The answer's right in front of us. Because the very same thing that causes diabetes, remember, in North America, no matter how much money we spend, it's 98% treating symptoms. If you have diabetes, here is medications. If you have high blood pressure, there's a pill for that. If you have this, heart disease, there's a pill for that. Or many. And all of our thinking surrounded by treatment, right? We gotta fix that. So we have a virus, you gotta fix that. But not to the neglect of the cause. There's always going to be viruses. There's always going to be bacteria. And what gives me a migraine headache is when we don't talk about the immune system and the effect. How could this happen? Doc, what are you talking about? What's diabetes got to do with viral? Everything. Because your immune system gets hijacked by bad food. See, nobody wants to talk about food. They don't see the connection. Nutrition even has been hijacked. Now you guys know this, but the world doesn't know this. By and large, the only people getting sick. I'm not saying, you can't get sick from the flu. You can't get sick from another virus or bacteria. It doesn't, listen, there's no, everybody's going to get a bug. But it's your immune response to it. And if they're honest, and that's all I'm asking, people, leaders, politicians, public health, be honest. It bugged me yesterday. In Canada was, let's talk about it. The bell. It said, let's talk about it. Mental health. Yeah, let's talk about it. I said, you're a bunch of hypocrites. Young people are depressed. And, let's talk about it. No, let's fix it. The delayed cancer treatment and the delayed diagnoses. And nobody's talking about it. I can't get over it. I want to scream. If you don't, if your body, and you know, the common denominator in metabolic syndrome, the common denominator in metabolic syndrome is what? It's insulin. So let's talk about that. It's insulin. And when you get your insulin down, when you fix the insulin, you're going to lower your risk. Listen to what I'm going to say. You are going to supercharge your immune system. Now, you know me and vitamin D and Viderma, and I'm big on that, and you gotta, you want to get, but you can't, listen, you can't out-supplement a bad diet. You just can't. You can go in the sun and get Viderma. I highly encourage it, except it's minus, 30 in Canada? It's very cold, so good luck with Viderma these days, right? No, but what I'm saying is, guys, you got to get to the root. Anybody what are we doing in our society today? Because of food choices and the food industry. What are we doing? We are filling up our livers, packing it up, packing the liver, and destroying our guts, the microbiome. We're creating enormous amount of free radical damage. That's what food does, guys. Bad food elevates your insulin. Bad food fills up your liver. Bad food destroys your gut, the lining. We talked about leaky gut. The seeds of disease. High circulating insulin, that's food. That's carbs. That's bad sugars. Leaky gut. Our food, the chemicals, sugar destroys the lining of your gut. It feeds the bad bacteria and they overtake, because what happens when you have bad guys more than you have good guys, you have an invasion of another species. Doesn't come from another planet, but if you like sci-fi, think of yeast, think of fungus, think of candida, all the same, invading the body. It's an invasion. How did that happen? We live in a different world, guys. We've made advances, and I'm not against antibiotics. I'm not. Don't try and say I'm against them. I'm not against them. They can save your life. I'm not against medications that can save your life. I'm not. But what I'm against is that we're not talking about the very subject that we need to talk about. We need to have an honest talk about how unwell we are. It's amazing to me that we just don't want to talk about it. I want to scream when someone says public health, and all they talk about is a virus. And, well, why don't you talk about the immune system? Why don't we be holistic about this thing? I told you yesterday, I had a long talk with a physician. It was good the other day. It was good. And I sort of giggled, like, I better start right from the beginning with basics. Like, because he said, I never took one thing about leaky gut in school. As a matter of fact, they said that wasn't true. It was fake news. Leaky gut. There's no such thing as a leaky gut. Ooh. Because all they can think of is digestion. Yeah, they believe in gut problems, but they didn't understand leaky gut, leaky brain, leaky gut, leaky lungs, leaky gut, leaky skin, leaky gut, leaky joints, leaky gut, leaky autoimmune, you name it. And I had to go back to the basics, and I'm going back to the basics today for you guys only to reinforce, guys, we're on the narrow road. I wish I could jump on and talk to all those truckers and just say, well, look, you're going to protest, but we should be protesting all the emphasis we put on in the world today. And we're going to get out of this, and you know what's going to happen? We're going to be eating the same thing. And diabetes will still be number one in North America. We'll be the worst. We'll still have diabetes coming out our ears. We need to fix that, because if you're on the road, 88% are on the broad road to destruction. Why? Because they have metabolic syndrome. 88% of the population have that. 88. And it's all caused by food. There's no other factor. It's food. Because food today is different than it was 100 years ago. It's much different. But people today have been duped. They don't put the link between diabetes, for example, and food. Oh, diabetes, it's genetics. It's, bad luck. I got diabetes. Not really. It's not bad luck. It's a self-inflicted disorder. Almost without exception, I'm talking about type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is autoimmune, and I could go into that for a long time about autoimmune and how it starts. And, well, I've done that many a times in the past. It's the one thing we can control. It's the one thing that would save us. I mean, billions of dollars and trillions in the United States. Billions in Canada, trillions in the United States. If we had a program, if it was similar to the program, and I give the government's high five on this, when they went against smoking, and they found out that the tobacco companies lied under oath They lied under oath and said, our cigarettes are not addictive. Boy, the government should start again and get the so-called food scientists, put their hand on a Bible and tell us that sugar isn't addictive. They know it is. They know it is. But, you know, our governments today are doing this, you know. I don't want to hear about it. Special interest. And look, again, I've told you that the pharmaceutical companies do great things. They really do. But boy, oh boy, they're not good on prevention. If you got diabetes, they want to give you meds. If you got this, they give you meds for everything. Okay, I get it. But when they cahoot with the food companies, now you got big problems. Huge problems. Because you can't, you can almost impossible to go against the narrative that they've created. You know, in the food companies, calories. Calories in, calories out. You can eat anything you want, just do it in moderation. Do you know how many people believe that? Do you know how hard it is to change people's opinion on that? I can eat, Doc, like, yeah, I need my treats and I need to eat more frequently, and it's all to do with calories. And I'm going low fat. And guys, it's been a disaster. It's been a disaster. And there's, you know, we've got the proof in the pudding now. The proof's there. If you'll read the statistics, you can't, look, unless you're 85 and over, okay? Let's take the 85s and over out of the equation. Okay? Not that I don't think you can have a good immune system at 85. Of course you can. But it's hard to teach people when they get older. It's hard. They, you know, I love you guys because you're teachable. You know what the definition of a fool is? What is the definition of a fool? They don't listen, Linda. They don't. That's a definition of a fool. Read the book of Proverbs. What's the overlying, you know, here's the overarching principle of wise. You listen. You can be corrected. I did it my way. Well, your way is not right. You know, this isn't Frank Sinatra. That's the Broadway. People are walking down the wrong path. I talked to an older guy yesterday, okay? And I love the guy. He just, you know. But when I started talking nutrition, his eyes glazed over. Like, he wasn't listening. God love him, but he wasn't listening. Okay? And it just because, you mean cereal's no good for me? What? I stop, okay? Because soon as I see, I used to do this in the office too. Soon as I would see that a patient wasn't buying it, I didn't spend a lot more time. Because I said, you invested your time coming to see me. Now I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? And the truth is, you better go home with a plan to change your life. Oh, Doc, that's hard, man. Like, what? I got to start drinking water? I don't like water. I like my cereal in the morning, and, I don't want to change that. Wait, are you kidding me? Like, no, I'm not kidding. But you got to do it, man. I can't do it for you. If I could, I'd do it for you. Okay? I can't. But guys, so when you see the news behind the news, we're beating our heads to get back to normal. And what is normal? Like, normal is we're going to be a sick population. Kids. Imagine kids filling up their livers. They have no idea. They're filling up their livers and destroying their microbiome, their gut, lining of the gut. They don't know it. Nobody's told them. And if we could fix that, and we can, what a difference that would make. What a difference it would make. And we wouldn't be number one in North America for diabetes. We wouldn't be number two. You don't win prizes for being number one in diabetes and number two in the universe in Alzheimer's. Coming to a theater near you. Alzheimer's. And they're looking, I'm surprised they haven't sent someone up into the moon to see what we can find up there to fix Alzheimer's. That's how crazy we are. It's food. It's food. It's insulin. It's crappy carbs, vegetable oils, sugar. You can't control everything in your life. But I'll tell you what you should do is control what you put in your mouth every day. And I'm going to preach it and preach it and preach it. As long, the nice thing is you don't have to listen, but you guys are so good. You're so encouraging. Shouting it from the mountaintops. It just bothers me. It bothers me because here we have a health crisis and we don't realize that we ought to be teaching people to eat properly. And all of the chronic diseases that we talk about, from Alzheimer's to cancer to cardiovascular disease. Do I saying we can eradicate it? No. But boy, we can put a big dent into it. You know the old expression, where there's a will, there's a way? But the will of the people, it's not there. But for a lot of people, ignorance is bliss. They don't want to listen. You can't convince them, but take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. I like that when I get on an airplane and they tell you, I hardly listen at the front because I've flown a lot over the years, so I know it's always the same, about in the event you need oxygen, okay, in the event, rare as it is, that you ever need oxygen, the masks are going to come right out of the ceiling. Okay. But you know what they tell you? I like that. I do. I understand what it's very true. They say, you put your mask on first before you help someone else. Because if you miss out on oxygen, you're not going to help anybody else. Believe you me. Right? So it's the same in nutrition. You know who I'm aiming at? You. Because I know I want to reinforce. You do it. And when they ask you, okay, some people walk around life, I mean it. They walk around all their life like this. Don't tell me. I know everything. Okay? I don't want to hear it. They do this. Have you met people like that? I have. Like I said, I used to see them in my office. You know, not always, of course. The vast majority of patients, hey doc, what can I do? Help me out here. Okay. You want help? You know what? Here's a biblical statement. It's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. Jesus said that. And when people would come in and admit it, you know what, doc, I'm not well. And I've done everything. I'm on 50 meds. I literally, I mean it. I had one lady come into my office and she won the prize. She was on 28 medications. About 75 years old. And I grabbed her little cheeks. And I said, do you really want help? She looked at me like I shocked her a little bit. She said, yeah. I said, well, I'm going to help you. But it's not going to be easy. But I'm not going to get you off one of those medications yet. We're going to start. I'm going to change your diet. Are you ready? She looks at me with big eyeballs. Yep. She said, I'm more than ready. I said, okay. Now you trust me for 30 days of your life. After that, up to you. But you give me 30 days. I'm going to change your diet. I'm going to change your fuel source. It's going to be pretty drastic. Are you ready? Yeah. I said, because you're on the Titanic, my dear. It's, well, I thought she already hit the iceberg. A lot of people, they haven't hit the iceberg yet, but they better change course. Okay, guys. Tomorrow's question and answer, is it? No, yeah. Yeah, Friday, yep. Tomorrow's question and answer, Friday. And we enjoy question and answer Friday, okay? And I think you guys do too. I promise you no rants tomorrow. I will not rant. Did you see I crossed my fingers behind my back. Because I'm going to rant. Probably. I might not. Okay? But you see, that's the news, guys, behind the news. It's the news behind the news. When you look at we're having a health discussion, you know, we're not even talking about the elephant in the room. It's too bad. It's not in the mainstream media. That's for stinking sure. Too bad. And most people walk around their lives, not everybody, but a lot of people do. They don't want to hear. They just don't want to listen. I'm sorry. This program is not for you. Okay? It's for listeners. I don't want to be just a hearer. I want to be a doer. Okay. Okay, guys. We love you. And we mean that. And we'll talk to you soon.